Real questions from the viewers, practical answers you can trust. Now, join us every Wednesday at 10 a.m. as we talk openly about issues that affect you and your family. Health Q&A talk show, your health, your say. Your health matters and your voice deserves to be heard. Introducing the show that puts you at the center of the conversation. From common illnesses to complex conditions to the questions you've always wanted answered. Top medical experts.
The cost of maintaining that bed on a daily basis 24/7, because an ICU is a 24/7 unit. One single bed can cost between 2 million and 4 million per day.
Real questions from the viewers. Practical answers you can trust. Join us every Monday at 10 a.m. as we talk openly about issues that affect you and your family. Health Q&A talk show, your health, your say. A very good morning to you who is still tuned into UBC TV. Thank you so much for keeping it with us. My name is Sophia Matovu, and it's the Health Q&A where we say your health, your say. It's always, of course, a pleasure for us to come to your living rooms, your offices, wherever you're watching the show from. Now, the desire to enhance our appearance is something that is becoming more and more increasing amongst us, the ladies. It is something that everybody would like to talk about. Everybody sits down and it's like, I think I should give it a try. Now, we are talking about the popularity of the Brazilian butt lift, one of those. There are also others. People have done the Botox, the what, everything, breast enhancement. But now here in Kampala, we talk about BBL. It is one of those very, very popular things. Now, why is it that it is now even here in Uganda and not abroad where you have to take a flight and do it from there? I normally tell you, when it comes to those issues, it's not my space to classify and to tell you this, that, the other. With me in studio this morning is none other than Dr. Martin Tungotio, who is a plastic and reconstructive surgeon from TMR International Hospital. And he has successfully done BBL. I'll not mention the number of women, including some of the socialites. I will not mention names. Doctor, the topic is displayed on our screen. I'll not be able to say it again for you, but you're watching and definitely you're seeing it. Doctor, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Fine. How does it feel for you, first to start with, that you're here in Uganda and you've been able to carry out such surgeries that people think are very controversial, and we've already seen medical tourism where people prefer going to do it abroad. They don't think it can be done here. How does that feel for you?
Feels good. These things have been done, for a while. And like you said, people have been traveling out to go and get some of these things done, yet we've been actually doing them for a while. But I think because, we are demystifying some of the beliefs associated with some of these procedures, people are getting more comfortable doing them in Uganda. Yet because we have professionals who are, trained to do them safely as well. So, yeah, to see that people are embracing this more and more is a pleasure to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's start to that. When we talk about the Brazilian butt lift, brackets BBL, what exactly is it?
A Brazilian butt lift is a surgical procedure which seeks to enhance the shape as well as the size of the butt. Essentially, it's just getting fat from areas where it's located. So the lower abdomen, could be the flanks, could be the back, could be the thighs. We process that fat and then we put it in the bum to give it more size as well as more shape. It was made popular by a Brazilian way back in the 70s, and that's why it's called the Brazilian butt lift, because this Brazilian doctor, plastic surgeon, made it more popular in his days, and the name just stuck on.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when you talked about the way it's done, because there are certain times, is it specifically done that way? Has it got to do with somebody's body fat? Or there are certain times, we know, like there are silicones that can also be used, let's say, when it comes to the breast enhancement. So is it specifically fat from the areas that have that fat, or sometimes you can also use additional things like materials to enhance it?
Well, there's different ways you can enhance the butt. But when someone talks about the Brazilian butt lift, we're focusing on the patient's own fat. But of course, there are situations where someone may not have enough fat, or they are looking for a volume that exceeds the amount of fat that they have. Then other options come in handy. So things like the implants now come in handy. That's when we now use implants that are body friendly. You know, the chemicals they use to make some of these implants are such that the body will not react too much to them. So we can now use these implants to enhance the butt. Okay. So implants are also an option for that as well.
Okay, now what happens to the areas, now assuming it's the thighs and somebody has extended properly thighs, but the back is kind of like the hand side is lacking. What happens to the parts where you've scraped that fat? They remain with the scars, they do what?
Usually the way we get that fat is that it's called liposuction. So we just put little tiny holes that allow us to put our cannulas into that area. We get that fat. It has to be in a proportional way. And it has to be in such a way that, because when you remove someone's fat, it's permanent actually. So you're also contouring them. So actually it's a two-in-one. If you do it really, really well, you can do the liposuction, get this fat. So in that liposuction that you're doing, you're also contouring this patient as well. So you get that fat from those areas where you think this fat, is excess or not as required as any other, area, and then you process that fat and then you inject it. So that area where you've gotten the fat should be fine, eventually, because all you're putting there is a little tiny scar.
Okay. So you said you use from the hips and from the stomach? From
the lower tummy, yes, the flanks, even the back. Anywhere you can get some bit of excess fat is a potential source.
Okay. Now, how do you determine how much fat? Does that, like, assume I've come to you, I'm a patient, and I tell you I want to have that enhancement of my butt. Now, do we determine to what degree and what portion the butt should extend? So it will determine what fat is extracted from where to be able to give me my required desire of my hindsight?
That's a very good question, because we also have to be in a situation where we must meet halfway in terms of the expectations. So if you come to me and you tell me you want to have a butt lift, I will, shall assess you, make sure you're the right patient for the procedure, mentally, physically, and your general health. Then I'll assess you and say, okay, where are the potential sites where I can get this fat? Vis-a-vis the kind of expectations that you have. You want something very big, but you have, you don't have that much fat. So we need to be very realistic in terms of the expectations we have, and also what is possible. If I look at you and I say, we can increase the volume as you want, but we don't have as much fat, as that is needed to put into, to try and achieve the expectation that we both have. Then you have to now start discussing the other options. If we say, okay, let's use the fat that I have, and then we say, okay, because they're also safe amounts that we are allowed to, remove. The agreed is average about maybe 5 liters of fat. When you go beyond that, you're now potentially playing with the physiology of somebody. So to do it safely, we encourage maybe about 5 liters. If you have that, if I estimate and I say maybe you can give me that amount, and that amount is enough for us to achieve our goals, then we go for it. If we don't, then you have to start thinking about other options in case you want a really, really big size butt. So essentially it's just you coming to the office, we assess, make sure you're a very good candidate for a surgery, first of all, and then how much fat can I potentially get off you to get the kind of goals that we, that we both want. Okay. So it's about meeting expectations safely.
Okay, you did talk about the safety procedures and risks associated is what is very important.
Yeah.
You did talk about whether you're an eligible candidate.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the people or candidates who are eligible for that. What should somebody's health conditions be like? Should somebody, because at certain times, you know very well that the rate at which non-communicable diseases are happening in Uganda is very high. One might be having that and is managing fairly well, but they still feel life must continue. So maybe you might be able to guide on who is an eligible candidate for this kind of surgery.
Okay. Generally, you want somebody who is healthy. And by that I mean, you don't have liver disease, cardiac disease, or any of these chronic conditions that can potentially have implications either during anesthesia, during the surgery itself, or even during your recovery. So if you tell me you have maybe heart disease and I think, heart disease can affect you in all these different aspects of the procedure, both, during the surgery, anesthesia-wise, or even during the surgical procedure, even during a recovery, then I might say you're not a very good candidate for the procedure. Even mentally also, sometimes you have patients who might need psychiatric evaluation. You have to understand the reasons why they're doing it. Because, if you're working on somebody who is mentally not there or not fit for the procedure, even for the recovery that comes after doing the procedure, then you also have to query whether that person is a good candidate for the procedure. So it's a general assessment of the patient health-wise. What chronic conditions do they have? Has that chronic condition been managed well over a period of time? Can they safely undergo anesthesia? Can they safely undergo surgery? Can they safely go through their recovery process very well? Then if they fit, all those ticks are ticked, then you have a fit candidate for for the procedure. Mentally, I've also talked about the mental aspect of it. Is this person mentally stable? Can they go through the mental process of the recovery? Because it's quite tough after the BBL. The things that you have to go through to try and achieve the goals that we've set forth can be very, very difficult. So when someone who is, of course, of age, legally, are they mentally stable? Is their general health good? And then you focus on, where will I get the fat? Is it enough? What goals do you have to, or do you want to achieve? Can we safely achieve those goals? So once you play around those different aspects, you then have to get the right candidate for the right goals that we, me as your surgeon, and then you as the candidate with your expectations, and then we can safely meet those.
Then we've had scenarios of a lot of donor this, donor the other. Does that also apply in this area where somebody else can donate fat?
Unfortunately, no. Fat, it has to be your own fat.
Your own fat to sit in well.
That's really important. I've had situations where someone comes and says, but my sister, has this huge amount of fat on her back. Can't I also use hers? And you say, no, it has to be your own fat. If you get someone else's fat, it is foreign. The body will recognize it as foreign. So you have to use, it has to be your own fat. And this is a particular issue with the skinny people, the very small people. You say, no, we can't. We can just have to discuss other options available to you, but we can't use someone else's fat.
Okay.
Yes.
Besides, have you done, as a surgeon, have you done a surgery where you have had to use the other materials besides the person's own fat?
That's a bit of a challenge because those have to be imported. They have to be FDA approved, what we call implants, and that can be quite expensive. And I think we haven't reached the point where we have gotten implants to use for someone, to enhance their butt because of the expense related to it, as well as the different loopholes that might come regarding, implants. What's the legality around importing them and all that. But at the moment, at least I am yet to, safely, let's say, do the butt lift or enhancement using implants. At the moment, it's mostly the patient's fat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what are the procedures one follows after the surgery? Those ones to be able to get well, because after all, you've not done an open cut surgery, but it's just your specific tools you use to ensure that you extract the fat and measure the specific surface where you would like to insert that fat.
Yes. So we've gotten this patient, we've taken them to theater, we've gotten this fat from an area where it was living comfortably in peace. So we've gotten it out, we've processed it, we've gotten as pure fat as possible. We've now injected it into a new area, and it has to pick up a new blood supply and survive there. So the key thing when it comes to recovery is to try and make sure we can have as much of the fat surviving, because we tend to lose some of this fat during the recovery.
Ooh.
Yes. So what does this mean? You have to lie in a certain position for at least 3 weeks. That means you're lying on your tummy, on your front side. So there's no pressure on the back side at all for at least 3 weeks. Thereafter, you can then consider maybe sitting on what we call BBL pillows, where you'll sit in a bit of an uncomfortable position, but the idea is still, making sure that there's no pressure on the backside. That is maintained for at least another 3 weeks. So you have at least 6 weeks where you have no usual pressure on the butt. Thereafter, you can then sit on it. So after those 3 weeks, you're increasing the amount of pressure you can put on the butt. So I'll tell you, maybe sit for 10 minutes, get up. Let's do that for another 2 or 3 weeks, or for like something like that. So you progressively increase the amount of pressure someone can put on the butt. Of course, you're eating right, protein, maybe healthy fat, carbohydrates, because you're also trying to, you're trying to heal. You're hydrating. We're also compressing you. Compressing meaning we've gotten the fat, we've done some good amount of liposuction, maybe on your tummy or your back. So there are certain risks also involved with that. Some of these include seroma, fluid forming underneath the skin where you've gotten the fat.
Where you have extracted the fat.
Exactly. So now we have to compress you. We have to press you in a compression garment. And that is constant for about 6 weeks as well. Then you can change maybe every 12 hours. You put on for every 12 hours for another 6 weeks. Total, 3 months of compression. Those are the key recovery aspects when it comes to the BBL. No pressure at the butt. You're eating right. You're hydrating well. You're also compressing the areas where you got the fat from, and you're basically just trying to stay healthy during the recovery period, because the idea is you're just trying to keep as much of that fat alive as possible.
Now now when you extract the fat, IVF is a little bit, where they
Yes.
store,
Yes.
can even keep the sperm for whatever
Yes.
period of time, the eggs for a particular period of
Yes.
time. How is it? Is all the procedure done at once, extract, remove immediately, or you can also store the fat for a specific period of time and then be able to insert it where it's supposed to be?
It is all immediate,
Wow.
because now you've taken this fat away from where it was alive. So you have to put it in a new area, actually as quick as possible, because the longer you wait in a it's not getting blood, no oxygen, nothing's keeping it alive. So the longer you keep it out, then the longer it is going to take to basically just to die off. So you want to quickly get it, process it, try and get as pure fat as possible, and then you put it in a new area. It has to pick up a new blood supply, and it survives.
Wow.
So it has to be done within the same.
So in
Same period
theater,
of
how
time.
long does that take?
It takes on average maybe 5 to 6 hours for me to get everything done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be quite long.
Quite interesting. So
Yeah.
do you do full anesthesia?
Yeah, it's general anesthesia. So of course someone has to be fit for that as well. So usually there's a discussion that must be had between the patient and the anesthesia provider or the anesthesiologist. Yes.
Okay.
So you sleep fully.
You sleep fully. Wow.
Yeah.
And for that period of recovery, this person is under your observation all through?
Yes.
Or some of them would prefer to say, let me go home, but you must monitor them for 3 months throughout.
No, a year.
6 weeks, actually.
They don't have to be in hospital.
Really?
Yes. So we spend about 3 days with them. By the time they get to day 3, they usually know the protocols that they have to go through when they go home. They are done with the IV medication. They just go home with their oral medication. Of course, the protocols have to be reinforced, and they comfortably go home. Of course, they're not putting pressure when they're going home, and they're in the cars. They are either lying on their car seat or they are kneeling. It's just very uncomfortable. But worth it when it all works out.
Have you had a scenario where a procedure, you've done your part, I failed to follow the protocols, and then it goes wrong? What happens if you have a scenario like that?
I mean, it depends on the kind of scenario. I've been lucky enough not to experience major, setbacks, but things can happen. It's surgery, so some of these things can still happen. And when they do happen, depending on what has happened, you have to safely sort it out. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's quite amazing.
Yes.
Now this is now a little bit personal.
Yes.
About how many of those have you successfully done here in Uganda? Because certain times, many people think, we don't have people here who can do it, and they would prefer to go abroad.
And
Like I said earlier.
yeah, which is perfectly fine. So yes, you have to have this discussion with the patient. You tell them, you've come here, we're going to do this. This is how it's done. You might show them a few pictures. Of course, there are no faces involved. People insist on, what will I look like? And I say, your people are different. The body shape is different. Even your butt shape is different. So we need to be very realistic with, with the goals that are potentially achievable. So in terms of the number, I can't get it off head.
Many?
They're a number. They're a number.
Dr. Martin is saying they are a number. He's refusing to tell you who they are, but he has
most are
done...
happy.
Yeah, they're very happy.
Yeah, most are happy.
Okay.
Most are
After that, it's normal. You do your everything
you do your
normally.
everything normally. But of course, I have to sort of caution most is that if you do decide to gain weight, the fat you've put there will react like any other normal fat. So you'll also gain weight. If you do lose weight, you've gone through some experience and you lose a bit of weight. That fat will also shrink, and you might not necessarily go back to square one, but you'll also lose a bit of weight as well. So it responds accordingly.
It responds accordingly.
Yes. Yeah.
So you said the difference with this and butt enhancement, in enhancement you use other materials,
enhancement,
right? Or it's just the way it's done?
Just the way it's done. If someone says, I'm having a butt enhancement, you're either doing it with an implant or with your own fat. Yeah.
When you say BBL, it is strictly with your own fat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when people approach you, you said, and I know it's a lot, no offense meant, but I know a lot of the people really feel like if I'm skinny, I would like to do something about it, and I would like to see myself be able to get there.
Yeah.
What or how do you manage? Because certain times rejection is not something that goes down well with some people. And they're like, you did it for so-and-so, but they forget that so-and-so's body shape is a little bit different, and they have possibly their fat. And they might say, but I also have my fat. As small as I might look, I have my own fat. How do you manage and deal with situations like those?
Now, those are, like I said, now we have to sort of meet, you have to be very real about the expectations. There are things that we can do. I'm sure you might have come across what they call a skinny BBL, for example. I can do a good amount of liposuction on your back, on your tummy. And that contouring will sort of give I call it illusion of now someone has a bigger butt. Yet all you've done is you've done a good amount of liposuction in key areas around the back, lower back and the tummy. And you've gotten maybe a fair amount of fat also from their thighs, or wherever the fat might be located. But you've shaped them in such a way that because you've contoured them, their butt has come out a little bit more, and then you've also used the little fat that they had to enhance the butt as well. So there's a way you can do it in the skinny people to also make them look as if they have a bigger and more shapely bum, without necessarily using huge amounts of fat, which they don't have. Yeah.
Now, to go a little personal, how did it feel for you, or how did you wake up one morning and you decide to say, of course, as a reconstructive and a plastic surgeon, there are many other surgeries you're doing. But the fact that you did the first one, how did you decide to say that, let me step into this space and go about to do this?
Yeah, people have what you call that internal confidence. There's a way you feel about yourself. As Sophia, for example, you say, I'm very confident internally, but you want that confidence to be expressed externally as well. You want your internal way to be reflected, or at least the gap between the internal way I feel to be reflected externally as well. So the people who come to you with, they're very self-cautious. They feel a particular kind of way, negatively about the way they look. They say, I look like a man, for example. I can't put on a particular garment. I can't put on my pants and my dress. When I do, my hips don't come out. And this affects what they wear. It affects where they go. It affects how they, interact socially with people. So you really see somebody who feels good about themselves internally, but they don't feel like the physical reflection is the same. So you also feel a certain type of, if you can safely help this person achieve that, that goal, to get their internal awareness closer to their physical expression, you've achieved something. So when you do it and it comes out right, and you see how they are glowing, you see how they are, they feel much better about themselves. They're now putting on something that they never used to put on, or they're now, they're more happy about the way they look. You also feel happy because you've in a way changed someone's life. Yeah.
Going back to the healing process, what you did talk about some of those, and we forgot. How should somebody dress for that period of time when the 6 weeks? Because That also matters a great deal. There are
Yeah.
certain times the material or the
Yes.
cloth itself can make somebody feel a little bit uncomfortable.
I mean, for that time during the recovery, you're not necessarily dressing to kill, you know, because you're already putting on a compression garment. There's no pressure on the bum. So most times these people are usually they're not necessarily out there because, you know, they're going through all these different protocols to make sure that most of the fat survives. So they're putting on as comfortably as possible. You know, they're, you know, diras or even a dress and a skirt, but as long as there's no pressure on the bum, I am happy, or at least I'm comfortable. So most of them will just dress normally, knowing the key thing, no pressure on the bum where Dr. Martin has put his fat.
Okay. Now, when this fat survives after that period of time, now, you know, there are certain times we move with the trends.
Yes.
3 months have elapsed. I feel the skinny jeans are the trend that is on.
Yes.
Can I tuck my... and you know, certain times the wiggle you have to go through to fit into your skinny jeans. Is that okay? Or they still even have to be a little bit cautious?
No, it's okay. You can now safely put on whatever garment you want to put on. The idea was for me to just make you feel as confident enough about your physical attributes so they can match the way you feel inside.
Okay.
After that, you can put on what you want, you know, the way you want it.
Okay, now this, I would like you to demystify, is it whether,
Yes.
whether it's a myth or a misconception,
Yes.
where some people think there are specific exercises when you go to the gym and you're rigorously doing them that can help enhance the backside.
That's a good question. I mean, there are things that you can do to enhance the backside, but they may not be enough because if you do squats and the like over a period of time, your bum will increase in size, but it may not be significant enough for the kind of way that you want to look. Yeah, and even after the operation, I sometimes emphasize, you know, after a period of time, to start doing those as well, because you want to get the blood flowing around the butt as well, to a specific area. And I mean, if we can also get the muscles involved, you add that with the fat that you've put there, you enhance muscle and fat, then why not? You know, we can achieve our goal, you know, with the exercises as well as putting the fat there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then comes the question of the costing. There are times, like people would say, there's a time we had to talk about what happens in ICU, you know, where people are like, ICU is an arm and a leg, but until they tell you what is entailed, is when you get to appreciate in what range are we talking about here now, given that I don't have to put a plane ticket, to fly. Roughly, you don't have to say the exact figure, but just give rough ideas in terms of the cost implications.
Sophie, you're now putting me on the spot here. Rough, I mean, it depends, because you know, you have to pick the kind of room you want to be in. You might want to be in VIP, you might want to be in a private room. But if you're asking me for a range, I would safely say between, Sophie, between 20, it's in the 20s.
It's in the 20s?
Yeah, it's in the early to mid 20s. Yeah.
Okay.
Million shillings, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That depends on also the kind of the room.
The kind of room they choose, the kind of care that they'll, you know, get. So all those things have to be put into consideration. But if I was to give a ballpark kind of amount, I would say between the early to mid 20s.
Okay. So now as we have the silver, the gold, the platinum.
Yes. The number of days you might want to stay there. So all those things have to be put into consideration, yes. Yeah.
So amongst, okay, when you say the hours it takes, what's your team like when you're doing this process? I'm trying to figure it out.
The team?
You're in theater.
Of course, you have the anesthesiologist who is responsible to put you to sleep safely. Then, of course, I'm the surgeon there. You have a team of nurses, you know, nursing assistants who help you to do, you know, the different things that need to be done in theater. That includes instruments, preparing them, getting the fat, preparing it. So you have a nursing team, the surgeon, anesthesiologist, and then you also have those nurses who will be there during the recovery. Then you have the medical personnel who will be there to look after you during your recovery as well. In times when maybe I'm away or I can't be there, or someone that just needs to constantly keep an eye on you. So there's nurses, the anesthesiologist, me, the surgeon, then medical personnel as well that are on ground to make sure everything is okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's quite a
Yeah.
team. Yeah?
Yeah.
You do not have an assistant with you, let's say another surgeon with you as this is happening. It is just you alone.
Yeah, just me alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Another surgeon might take the price times 2.
Please don't steal Dr. Martin's price. I know he has flowers from some of those who've successfully undergone the surgery under his hands, and it's quite amazing to see that this is actually happening here in our space of Uganda.
Yes.
What's it like? Do you have conferences as well, or do you sit down as well later, you know, as the healing process is going? So you have to do your ward rounds and meet that particular patient on a daily.
Yes. You have to meet them at least. I will constantly be with the patient for at least 3 days. Then when I see that you're safe, you know, you can safely go home and continue with the protocols there, then you can go home. But of course, you, in case of anything, I mean, I always make my numbers available to my patients. And also the hospital also knows that in case of anything, they can always, you know, go back there and manage any potential complication. So when they're safe to go home, they go home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this particular point, I would like us to take a very short commercial break. When we do come back, we are going to allow you, because you can see the number is displayed on your screen, and I'm sure you have sent in, or you're sending in a lot of questions. You'd like to interact with Dr. Martin. Maybe we might also get a chance to get one of the people he has worked on, be able to send their flowers to him on the show, but right after this short commercial break. Your health matters, and your voice deserves to be heard. Introducing the show that puts you at the center of the conversation. From common illnesses to complex conditions to the questions you've always wanted answered. Top medical experts.
The cost of maintaining that bed on a daily basis 24/7, because an ICU is a 24/7 unit. One single bed can cost between 2 million and 4 million per day.
Real questions from the viewers. Practical answers you can trust. Join us every Monday at 10 a.m. as we talk openly about issues that affect you and your family. Health Q&A talk show, your health, your say.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the Front Bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
When you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers, you bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Your health matters and your voice deserves to be heard. Introducing the show that puts you at the center of the conversation. From common illnesses to complex conditions to the questions you've always wanted answered. Top medical experts.
The cost of maintaining that bed on a daily basis 24/7, because an ICU is a 24/7 unit. One single bed can cost between 2 million and 4 million per day.
Real questions from the viewers. Practical answers you can trust. Join us every Monday at 10 a.m. as we talk openly about issues that affect you and your family. Health Q&A talk show, your health, your say. Okay, welcome back from that short commercial break. It's still the Health Q&A talk show. The WhatsApp number is displayed on the screen, and we are talking about, you know, the rise of cosmetic surgery with a focus on the Brazilian butt lift, that is BBL. Please send in your questions because the expert is here with me in studio, and you can be able to even ask him where you can find him if he's willing to share his number so he can do it for you. He's done it for some of our socialites here, but for purposes of privacy, I will not mention their names. But when you hear the name Dr. Martin, I'm sure if you've seen some of those socialites speak about it, you know who they are saying now. This is the famous Dr. Martin. Now, good morning. I would like to know if my tummy can be reduced only and at how much. Many women also, besides enhancing the body, I know, are very, very uncomfortable with those Jojo tongues protruding out there. Dr. Martin, to you.
Yes. It's called the tummy tuck, where we try and reduce the excess lower abdominal skin and fat. We tighten the abdominal muscles as well. It's actually a very common procedure that's being done in Uganda, Kampala. So the patient would need to come in. We do an assessment to see if they qualify to be a candidate for the procedure, and then we can discuss the costs. We can comfortably discuss the costs from there. So I cannot say like this is the particular cost of it, because there are certain other things that need to come into play.
But now, as science and technology keeps on advancing,
yes,
I find it quite amazing. I thought, okay, particular fat, since it's, of course, some might be excess, but I thought like the fat in the abdomen, in the stomach, is meant to protect some of those organs, you know. Now, certain times, some of them might feel it's excess, and then we always want that flat tummy.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How much is too much and how much is safe? And how does it end up accumulating, by the way, to that level? Some of us have these excuses. I have given birth to a number of these kids. That is why I have that, excess fat.
Yeah, I mean, the way you've said it, when you get pregnant, the body prepares you for the, for delivery of your child. That means you're most likely going to eat more, you're going to gain weight. That weight is just designed for you to be prepared for your pregnancy and looking after your baby when the baby is born, breastfeeding and all that. But after a while, you stop breastfeeding the child, you might lose a bit of weight, go to the gym, do everything, but you still have that lower abdominal fat. At the same time, if you've had multiple pregnancies, your abdominal muscles increase, reduce in size because of the pregnancy. So there is what we call the diastasis. The abdominal muscles, those abs that people are aware of, they separate. And that also sort of contributes to the discomfort that people have with their tummies, because they look as if they're always full, you know, because of that diastasis, that separation between the muscles. And you combine that with that low abdominal fat that just refuses to go away despite everything. So it's, you know, they now seek your help to try and get rid of it, that low abdominal fat, and also strengthen their abdominal wall muscles. And that's where the tummy tuck comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're back to our topic of the BBL. Fat has been extracted from the lower bit.
Yes.
So in other, it's like you've done a 2-in-1 procedure.
Yes.
You've helped me to do a mini tummy tuck because
Full
you extract.
tummy tuck.
You've done a full tummy tuck.
No, this one now is just liposuction.
No, when you've done the liposuction.
Yes. Tummy tuck,
when you
you're
remove
cutting.
Ah, tummy
Yes.
tuck you cut.
There's cuts in tummy tuck.
Okay.
You're cutting basically from one hip to the next to get rid of the excess fat and skin. With liposuction, all you're doing is making little tiny cuts into, you know, particular areas that give you access to the fat using a cannula that we use to suck the fat. That's the difference. Yeah, liposuction, you're just sucking. Tummy tuck, you are cutting.
So when you do your liposuction, does it also, is there a significant way somebody will really be able to recognize and see that some fat was removed because you've used it to enhance my backside?
Yeah. So like you said, it's a 2-in-1. So you'll get the fat. Of course, you're getting it in a way that will also help the patient eventually. So you're contouring them. So you get this fat in a, you know, nice, equal kind of contouring, you know, way. So at least when you get that fat, they must also see and say, okay, I benefited from the liposuction in one way. The fat has been removed. I look more shapely. But not only that, they've used that fat to also enhance my my butt. Yeah.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
What are some of those, or what happens in a situation, let's say you have done the surgery, I don't know, I don't think it's ever happened, but I'm just assuming, I'm thinking crazy and wild.
Yes.
A surgery has been done, you've done the BBL, and then the customer still comes back and feels, we've not achieved it the way I wanted it, and they feel they are not happy with some of the results.
And that can happen. Like I said, the whole point of the recovery process is to make as much of that fat survive, because we do lose some amount of it. And if the expectations are not met, you have to sit down with the client or patient again and say, okay, option is either we redo it, which we can actually also, you know, redo the whole thing again, or we then have to use implants if we have to. So you can actually have what we call a round 2 or second round BBL, where we go through the whole process again. I know, yeah.
You know, when you just even think about it, that is 6 weeks going through the procedure, then you come back and you're still like, I don't like what I see, and then it has to be redone again another 6 weeks.
Not 6 weeks, this is now...
When you redo it again?
It's a bit of, but even close to a year after.
Wow.
Yeah, you can redo it after about a year.
If somebody's not happy, you give them a period of time?
Let's get some time, wait about a year, let's see how everything settles. Maybe in about a year's time, we can have another conversation. Yeah.
Then how do you psychologically prepare the patients for some of this? Because there are certain procedures, just even telling somebody you're going into theater, it's scary.
It is, and so you have to talk to your patient, make the vision as vivid as possible, for them, what they're going to go through. And at times, actually, we are now moving more towards making, a consult with a psychologist mandatory, so that every patient who's going to have a BBL has a chat with a psychologist, so they understand the procedure they're going to have, the recovery that it entails, and the expectations, and what could also possibly go wrong. So so you have to sometimes involve the psychologist to try and make this patient understand the process and make sure that they're mentally prepared for it.
So that now I think it's trying to help me justify the cost. Because because it's a process.
It is a process.
It doesn't mean that it involves you just coming there and then but the constant visits, the consent,
the consenting,
then the other team members involved.
Team members, yes.
Oh, wow.
Everyone must have like a chat with you just to make sure that the process is understood from the beginning up to the end. Yeah.
Okay. So if you've traveled, I believe, and did you learn this from that side, or it's procedures you just decided to give yourself a lot of time and confidence to do it.
During
Have you done it during your study?
During my, can I say, residency, when you were studying to become a plastic surgeon, I had, of course, a few trips here and there to go and see what's done elsewhere. I also had a fellowship in Vancouver, Canada, where I also sort of was attached to these surgeons. You know, you go and help them, so you're seeing what they're doing, you're participating in what they're doing, you get the interest there, you learn there, and of course you carry the skills here, and then you grow, you know. I mean, I've been a plastic surgeon close to 15 years, I think, now. So it's one of those learning processes. You learn from those that are very, very good at it. And then, of course, once you learn what you've learned, you need to practice it and also learn, because like you said, people are different. There's the European population or the white population. Then there's us, the Africans. We are built different. So there's also that new understanding of the African body, you know, the African female body. How are they different? What are their needs? And all that also needs to be, you slowly sort of learn your way into it. Yeah.
Then do we have, in terms of fat, yes, graded, is there, like you see, now let me use the animal examples,
yes,
where, you know, you'll find if it's meat, some is really, really have tough and all that.
Yes.
Does fat also have those different degrees of where some of it is a little bit soft in terms of the human, or our fat is standard?
It's ideally standard, but I think the consistency is where you find it. It is easier to get fat, for example, from the lower abdomen compared to the back, because the fat has, I mean, the back maybe has tougher tissues that surround the fat. But fat should be fat. It's just that the access and how you access it is what makes a few small differences. Yeah. Yeah, but fat is fat.
Fat is fat.
Yes.
What are one of those surgeries, say, or one of the persons you have worked on and you really like, in terms of the BBL, and you really like also look at them and you're like, I did a good job?
I mean, you have those. I mean, the idea is when you go and operate is you want to enter the theater. If you can achieve the patient's expectations, if someone comes and shows you, because now patients even come with what they call inspiration, they call them inspos. They say, doctor, I want to look like this. Then you look at them and say, okay, this is achievable. We may not be able to achieve this. Maybe you don't have this. And but when you go to theater, you operate, and then at the end you look and say, I think I've done something. And then you come out and the patient also says, I think you've done something. And that's a good day at work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now here we go. Hello, thanks for the show. What are some of the side effects of this? I've also heard people saying as you grow old, you start to loosen. Yeah, as in that kind of. Won't the women doing this procedure now grow old with dismantled bodies since it is not natural?
It's your own fat. So it's as natural as it gets. But like she said, as you get older, there are some things we cannot deny. Gravity is still there. Your body is still aging. So it's not like when you put fat there, it stops aging. No, you continue with the aging process as naturally as possible. The fact that you're using your own fat also makes it natural. But yeah, there are changes that are associated with age that nobody can stop. You can only try and delay them. But I mean, she's right in a particular way that your body will still respond to age.
Age, yeah.
Yes.
The body will respond to age just like any other person.
Yes. You can lift the breast, but you know that with gravity, with time, it goes back.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the show. I am James in Ginger. BBL is risky, but how do doctors manage to keep life in such sophisticated surgeries? I'm reading for you the questions the way they are. Yeah.
They're very, I mean, it's very risky, I agree, but you have to have a talk, at least a discussion with your client about the risks involved, because there's risks involved with anesthesia, putting you to sleep, the medication they use. There's risks involved during surgery. There's risks involved during the recovery. And I think someone asked about the potential risks. I mean, there are so many. There's asymmetry. You may not achieve the symmetry that you both want. You could get infection. Some severe enough to cause like a pus collection or an abscess. You could get the fat becoming cyst, like a cyst or a fluid. So it becomes like an oil cyst in the bum. The fat might die off. meaning all the fat just dies off and you don't get the kind of goals that you wanted to achieve. I mean, there's so many potential complications, and these must be understood or made. You must make your patient understand that these things can happen, but the goal, at least for most surgeons who are treating patients, is to have the best possible outcome. But it's always better to have that discussion with the patient so they're not surprised when some of these things happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, wow. Help us wish Dr. Martin a wonderful birthday, please. It's his birthday. I don't know whether this is your team, but
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it is my birthday.
They have burst the bubble.
Thank you.
Then this is someone from Chiwatule. Why are patients in BBL only women, but not heard from any man going for it? What would a man say?
I think most men are comfortable with the shape and size of their mouth. Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Now this one is asking, hello, what can be done to rectify unequal sizes of the butt after BBL surgery? This is Mariam in Gayaza, from participating on that from Gayaza.
You assess, you see where the deficit is, you see how much or what needs to be done to address the deficit, and then you address it. Most times it usually entails maybe getting a bit more fat from somewhere and then trying to make everything look as symmetrical as possible.
So meaning even if somebody were born that way and they feel like they need one side is more enhanced than the other, they can still undergo the BBL to have that done?
They can.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
Just need to be realistic about the expectations. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So what's your take on it? You think BBL is being done by, socialites do and celebrities know how to move the narrative? Do you think women are doing that under pressure because of the narrative that is going around, or it's just...
Surprisingly, we at least I have been doing them before. But it's, like I said, plastic surgery in Uganda is something that is a bit new. We're still, there's a certain connotation towards cosmetic surgery. And even it's still there now. People don't look too positively on it. So you find people are flying out to do these things done, and they do it very quietly. They come back, they get complications that they don't want to be looked at as vain. As people have done these things that need to be done. We've been doing them before. It's just that now I think that we've done them on people who are comfortable enough to let the world know that these things can be done. And they can be done safely in Uganda, in Uganda, and that's why you're seeing that rise. But we've been doing them. At least I've been doing them before. Social media pushed everything to where it is now.
Okay. Then there's somebody who is asking, do those who encourage cosmetic surgery do it themselves, or are they misleading our people because of money?
You see. No. People, you put the information out there, If you want to get this, if you want to get this, if you want to get that, it's possible, it can be done safely. Then you wait. If someone feels like they need a particular procedure done for them, to help them feel a certain type of way, then you help them. Yeah. It's not that we're out there hunting or looking for money.
Okay, then. Happiest birthday, Dr. Martin, from Bridget Namungona. He's the best surgeon ever in Uganda. We have seen and have a testimony of his work. I got a liposuction from him. Wow. Now, there you are. Those are your flowers. We can't deny you your flowers when they come through. Now, what ethical, should I call them protocols or procedures, do you as the doctor have to safeguard yourself as well? Because you've had scenarios of some patients who might think when something goes wrong, it has been caused by the doctor. Yet possibly it was bound to happen, or whatever it is. How? Because you're protecting the client, but what about yourself?
Yeah. That's a very good question. Like I said, you have to pick the right patient. You can't find that kind of patient who, even if you have this discussion with them, you go through everything that needs to be done, all the possible things that can go wrong, and they still hunt for you, or they still take you down. So it's about potentially picking the right patient. At the same time, like you say, you have to protect yourself. So they have to sign consent forms that they've agreed to the procedure. They've agreed that these things can go wrong. They've agreed that in case anything goes wrong, this can be done to try and safeguard, your side of the, your side of the aisle. And then, of course, even might have to, you have to take insurance just in case, someone comes after you. You have to be insured, so in case anything happens, you're also, backed up in a certain kind of way to sort it or deal with it. Yeah.
So besides that at TMR, are you the only surgeon doing this, or you have others who are also
all these plastic
involved?
surgeons in Kampala do these things. Just a bit quiet, but there are people, there are good plastic surgeons in Kampala who are doing these procedures safely. Yeah, they're there. I'm not the only, yeah.
So in other words, we are fully equipped.
Fully equipped.
To be able to do cosmetic surgery in Uganda.
Yes, we are.
No need for traveling abroad.
No need.
If Dr. Martin says so, who are we to argue and say otherwise? Because definitely he's the expert, has done it before, and he's giving us assurance that it is very possible here. Yeah? What are the warning signs somebody should consider besides that? Because there are some people, we like always to negotiate the cost. Yes, we want good things, but, hey man, the cost.
The cost, yes.
If they don't come to you and they go elsewhere or wherever they'll choose, what are some of those things somebody should look out for and know that indeed this one can do it, indeed this one has done it, indeed I am very safe?
That's a good question. So they just need to have a discussion with their plastic surgeon. Has to be certified or a qualified plastic surgeon. They should have a sort of like a genuine discussion with their plastic surgeon to assess what they can do, what they can't do. Some might even be brave enough to ask for pictures to, just to show a history of their work. That might also give some of the clients a bit of confidence to know that this person has worked on a few patients, and this is what he's done. His body of work basically speaks for itself. Yeah, I think once you dig into the history of your plastic surgeon, what they're able to do, and then you also have a talk with your surgeon to assess all these different things. To maybe they might even ask to show their body of work for you to be able to trust them. Yeah. Okay.
Hello, Dr. Martin. I did a BBL and I'm happy with the results. This is Jojo from Mokono. Indeed, he deserves flowers, and he's so caring during the aftermath. Also, Bambi, wish him a great happy birthday. I'm reading for the messages the way they are.
Thank you.
Okay. And then somebody's asking a very pertinent question. Is there any compensation done if someone, this one believes in, says dies in a BBL surgery?
I mean,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, you need all sorts of investigations to go to assess what could have gone wrong at a particular point in time. So there's a lot involved when it comes to the death of a particular patient. To say there is compensation is a totally different story. It's hard for me to answer that one because there's different things that can happen, different causes or particular parts where that patient can potentially die, and it needs a full-blown investigations and all that for them to make an assessment to see what needs to be done eventually.
No, what you're saying is very, very right. Because anyway, anything can happen anytime.
Yes.
Just that's why when you went back, you did speak to the issues of what you check. General health.
Yes.
So I think for that to happen, maybe somebody has not disclosed the truth about their general health. But you need to be as transparent as much as possible with your doctors when you go for these procedures. We just have a few more minutes left. The lines are open. You can send in your question and then we can be able to address it, because that's why Dr. Martin is here. When you ask for some of these issues, I tell you I'm not the expert, I'm not the star. So please, he's here to be able to answer to your bits. Still, just now at this point, remind the viewers about some of the 3 major important things one should consider when they say that this is the procedure I would like to go through. Yes, it's cosmetic surgery. You might think since this area you're safe, you don't, but there are words of caution you might have for them?
Wow, there's so many. So
Please go ahead.
To narrow it down to 3 is a bit tricky.
Then go ahead with them. The ones they must remember.
Are you a good candidate for the procedure? Both mentally and physically. Are you healthy enough? Are you mentally prepared for the recovery of the, following the procedure? Are you actually also mentally prepared in case things go south, in case things don't work out? Are you prepared for, that journey as well? I think once a patient answers those questions, preparedness, readiness, mentally, physically, for what could go right, what could go wrong, I feel as if you are at least 3/4 way there. Yeah, it's just preparedness.
Then in terms of the health facilities, when you talk about the amount of money, there is the willingness, but there is also the pocket.
Yeah.
Do you work out arrangements where somebody can have a payment plan?
Yeah. This part is the financial. I usually don't handle the financial aspects of the business, but I know that there is payment plans that are available, at least at TMR. They're able to work out a proper payment plan in case one is not able to, give the full amount at the time.
Okay. Now, I don't know, what are your parting shots to a person watching you right now?
That's another big one. I'd say, these things are available. They can be safely done. Choose the right person who is confident enough to achieve your goals. But I think the parting shot is, it's possible. It's possible. And if you want to go for it, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for keeping it here with us and Dr. Martin. And maybe now I can disclose what I've been trying to keep quiet about. One of the celebrities or socialites whose BBL has been done successfully at TMR by Dr. Martin is Bad Black. Keep watching UBC, for we still have normal programming coming, and then later on we might be having a committee coming your way. Bye-bye from me. Keep watching. Your health matters and your voice deserves to be heard. Introducing the show that puts you at the center of the conversation. From common illnesses to complex conditions to the questions you've always wanted answered. Top